Coming up, what an excellent day for the movies. Well, howdy folks, and welcome to minute 68 of the Exorcist Minute, a show where we endeavor to examine, extrapolate, and excavate The Exorcist, minute by terrifying minute. My name is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I'm Kynan Diaz.
And we'll be your holy guides on this journey through what some have called the scariest movie of all time. Okay, so our minute begins with Karras saying, very much, to Kinderman's question of whether or not he likes movies.
And it ends with Karras smiling before he goes through a door.
More Karras smiling here, folks.
Always
They're teasing us with this.
Smiling, this guy.
You always be walking around smiling, you big galoot. What is a galoot?
Oh, God, I have no idea. I didn't know there'd be a quiz today.
Kynan, what is an aglet?
An aglet is the little plastic thing at the end of a shoelace.
There we go. Excellent. Yeah, but yes, but they are teasing us, folks. But after this, the smiles are going to be few and far between. So let's enjoy them while we can, shall we? Back to the top of this minute. So Kinderman catches up to Karras and he follows up on his offer. He gets passes to the best shows in town. Now, already that term, the best shows in town, sounds a little weird. Kynan, you might know a little bit more than me about like the history of I guess, movie distribution in the theaters. I remember we talked briefly about how back in the day, movies weren't necessarily like as accessible as they are today. Like they might only be available in certain theaters and at certain times. And if you live in a smaller town, depending on like where you live, they might not make it to your little town at all.
Right, or they might get there a year after everyone's seen them in the big towns.
Right, yeah. So when Kinderman says he gets passes to the best shows, so like, see, that's the thing that's confusing me. I was like, why not just say you get free passes to all of the shows? Like a movie ticket is a movie ticket. It just goes to show how much has changed since then. I mean, like Kynan, can you remember the last time?
I think what you have to understand here is that Kinderman is a big weirdo, and he's saying this phrase that doesn't mean anything.
Okay,
he's as if he's saying like theater tickets. He has theater tickets.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the best shows in town. Like
right, like he has tickets to the symphony, but he's talking about movie tickets. So yeah, I think he's just a weirdo.
Okay, so what you're saying is that even back in the day, this didn't mean anything.
Yes, I believe this is a joke.
Okay,
correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, if I'm not thinking about anything, but yeah, you would. Yes, this is nonsense, I think.
Okay. This is more Kinderman schmaltz here,
right.
folks.
I think so, yeah. You know, the closest thing that I can think of, I mean, it does get difficult to get movies later on, like when they're on video, where there are finite copies of things. So I remember the movie that got me into seeing movies seriously as a kid was Fargo.
Okay.
So I would have seen Fargo sometime after the Oscar win for it, so sometime in 97. So I would have been 13. And that was the first movie I saw where I was aware of film as art. And I had seen other movies, that I would say are art earlier. So like, The Lion King, Fantasia, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump. So I Die Hard. But Fargo was the first one where I was like, where I was noticing I wasn't just being entertained. I was also like really, disturbed and noticing like the art behind it. But that movie won a couple Oscars at the Oscar ceremony in February. And I tried to get at the local video store a copy of Fargo for months. So going to like this is very different from how it is streaming today. Like I would go every week and try to get that one copy of Fargo at the video store. I was like, this is all I want to do is see Fargo. It's all I've been thinking about. Every time I go, it's just they used to have for any younger listeners, they would have an empty VHS case with the poster on it. Right. So that you would like, there it is. But what you were looking for was a Hollywood Video or Blockbuster Video branded case behind it that had the actual tape in it. Right. So you would know, okay, they still have a Fargo somewhere because they have the empty case with the poster on it, but somebody has it.
Right.
And I would go every single week. It took me months to get a copy of Fargo.
Yeah. No. Kids today.
I mean, I had to like get, my parents, take me to the video store or call on the telephone and talk to a human being and ask them what the deal with Fargo is. And you couldn't like put yourself on a list or a queue or something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, younger folks, you will never know the frustration, but also the excitement and like adventure of trying to find something that is not immediately readily available. right? Like younger folks, gather round and let Uncle Lester and Uncle Kynan tell you a tale, right? A tale of when entertainment was finite, and sometimes it was so scarce that you had to go without, right? It's a tale of searching high and low, far and wide for a blockbuster movie or a library book or a theater that was showing the movie that you wanted to see, like a tale of bus trips, of road trips, a tale of waiting in line, right? That is, of course, unless you had a friend like Lieutenant William F. Kinderman who got passes not just to any show, but to the best shows. Kynan, in an alternate hot dog universe, what shows does Kinderman have exclusive passes to? Like what's playing in 1972 or 73?
Oh, yeah. Well, The Godfather for sure. He might have tickets to The Godfather.
So they're going to see The Godfather, right?
Exclusive tickets.
Nobody else can see.
It's so hard to see The Godfather in 1972. Or Cabaret. He might have been seeing Cabaret or Sounder, the movie about the dog.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and The Exorcist comes out relatively late, so I don't know when The Sting came out, the movie that was the other big hit of 1973.
Right.
But yeah, it's possible he could have seen the Sting, and then our Oscar, our Exorcist fans are like, oh, damn it! Like that's the movie that beat The Exorcist. So this is like their rivals or something.
I would love to see them like walking out of a movie theater, and on the marquee it just says The Sting, and then Karras and Kinderman just turn to each other. It's like, what did you think of that?
Boo,
needed a little work. Boo.
Okay, so what I see actually is The Sting came out on Christmas Day of 73, and The Exorcist came out the day after, or
the day after Christmas.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, they had a fair race.
I like this. Okay, well, I like to imagine a universe where like Karras and Kinderman go to see The Exorcist, but it's starring Shirley MacLaine,
yes,
Tatum O'Neal, Stacy Keach, and George C. Scott, right? Because he was Kinderman in the other one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, duh. I'm like, why is that's such great casting? Yes, because he's Kinderman later on. Yes.
Yeah. But their biggest concern upon exiting the theater is that no one in the movie had hot dog fingers.
Yeah, what's with that?
Yeah,
how strange.
That's how you could tell it was a fiction, right? Also, did you see the X-rays? That girl didn't have any bones in her brain. Talk about a movie mistake.
Right. I mean, yeah. So in that universe, they open Reagan up and the helium comes out, and they gotta they gotta push blood into her body.
Right. Yeah. We got cerebrospinal fluid, and in that universe, right? Kids are going to the carnival, they're going to the circus, right? And they're having birthday parties, and they're filling balloons with cerebrospinal fluid.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And
it's
Sharon,
just like.
But they love balloons. They're like, yay!
Yeah.
And Sharon is dating a man horse.
Yes, right. Different from a horseman.
Absolutely.
How? You figure that out. Okay. But yeah, so our friend Kinderman, he gets passes to all the best shows, but I'm laughing because you're laughing. I don't know what triggered that.
Because it's just a silly thing. He doesn't get passes to the best shows.
All right, I'm going to say that again.
All movies cost the same amount of money.
That's what I'm saying. Like what?
Right. We're now. So if you're listening in 5023 and you're like, what? All movies, no matter how expensive the movie was, they charge the same for the ticket price. Yeah, that might go away in the future. That is what
in the future all movies will be the same, and they'll just be about like work for your dollar and praise the plastic overlords.
Yes, all movies will be the same, exactly. But that's
laughing.
Right, only work.
But
yeah, that's what some Hollywood economists and journalists think might happen in the future is that Indiana Jones would cost more than an Everything Ever All at Once when you buy the ticket.
Oh,
because there's higher demand for the Indiana Jones movies, and
interesting,
and they're more expensive.
Huh. Yeah. Well. That's a future that I never want to visit.
Oh, right, exactly.
Anyway, yeah.
So he has passes all the best shows.
All the best shows, right? But Kynan, Mrs. K, she gets tired. She never likes to go, right? And now, folks, you'll notice ever since this shot began, he has Karras has that mask on again, right? Maybe not something you'd notice if you're watching this like Kynan says, like a normal person. But as someone who's like pausing and rewinding and watching in little bits and pieces, I could see that his expression was like a little different here. So much so that I noticed, like we were talking about how nice it was to see him without the mask, seeing him like smiling, and now it's back, right? And it caught me so off guard that I actually wondered like if maybe they shot this like on a different day or someone's like just like messing up with the continuity or something.
Oh, well, I mean, they could have shot it in 2 different days, but more likely, I mean, when you do different, when you have different pieces of coverage, you have different performance takes all the time. So
Right. Yeah. But then I thought to myself, hang on, Lester, if someone had been living with that mask for as long has developed it over years of practice, surely they'd be able to slip in and out of it very, very quickly. And now I can see like a world where Karras finishes this pleasant little exchange in which like he genuinely felt something for this guy and then just turns around and shuts it off. Right. And now he's back to gloomy Karras walking down the street.
Yeah, I've talked a little bit. Like I don't think I have resting bitch face necessarily, but I certainly have resting do not talk to me face. I think it takes a little bit. When people first get to know me, I think it's like they're surprised how warm I am or what have you, or how pleasant I try to be because just my face, my natural mask is just like I'm uninterested in you, and but I'm actually very interested in people. So Karras might have that as well, just so naturally. But I think it's more to your point, like. He's cultivated that mask, right?
Right. I have resting, not well rested face, and I only know that because people have commented. It's Kynan. This is not something you say to somebody, is it? Like, am I wrong? Like. Apropos of nothing, someone just like out of the blue was like, "You look really tired,"
and you're like, "Nice to meet you. I'm Lester."
Yeah, like fuck you. Like what? Yeah.
No, but that must mean that they think that you are normally well rested, right? For them to say that.
I mean, well, here's the secret. I'm always tired. But like, that's So I got resting tired face apparently, which is an oxymoron because resting and tired. Yeah. I've got resting trying to rest face.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been apologizing on our listener group for our episodes being silly recently because they're the ones where we're covering really awful stuff happening to Reagan or awful stuff happening to Damien. But that's our secret, Cap. We're always silly.
We're always silly. It's not, like the movies by minute conglomeration, Movies by Minute Inc. They don't decide who covers what movies. Right. So, it's just the fact, you wanted The Exorcist, but look who you got to cover it. I mean,
some silly billies.
Yeah, we could have been doing planes, trains, and automobiles, and we'd be right in. Actually, no. I think just like by our nature, Kynan, we'd be covering planes, trains, and automobiles, and we'd get really dark.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Like about the nature of being on the road as a shower ring curtain salesman, right? Shower curtain ring salesman, and what that means, and
I'm always moving from place to place, and like when I get there, I just want to move on, and when I'm on the road, I want to get to where I'm going. But then when I get there, I just want to keep going somewhere else.
Right.
I want to go back.
Right. And we talked a lot about like how John Candy really died. Like we just in every episode we remind you that John Candy is dead in real life.
Right. Too soon. But anyway, okay, so back to this laugh a minute movie
of The Exorcist.
Of The Exorcist.
Okay. Not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, right? Yeah, so we got gloomy Karras walking down the street, but Kinderman isn't letting him go so easily, folks. He runs after our boy Karras, and he asks him if he likes movies because it turns out, Kinderman really likes movies.
He sure does.
In fact, he loves to talk film. He loves to discuss, to critique. So he likes to watch movies and talk about them. What a weirdo.
He's tracking this guy down. Let me talk about a movie to you.
Yeah. He's in the back seat of the cab. He's like, our second minute begins with
Detective Kinderman. That's really great. I haven't seen that movie since I was in high school. I was like, well, let me tell you what happened.
You don't need to. You just listen to my podcast. I have a podcast, by the way.
You can listen to it on your phone.
Yeah.
You can listen to it on your phone.
Yeah. Captain Howdy told me about it. Nah, trust me, it totally works.
So yeah, he's like, so Detective Kinderman, no offense, but they gave you a radio show to talk about movies. What qualifies you to talk about movies?
Well, I get passes to all the best movies. It's not everybody who can see, Othello starring Groucho Marx.
Exactly. It's like, I need you, father, before you go, friend. I just need you to leave a review on your favorite podcaster. You need me to leave a review. Yeah, it's on your phone.
Yeah.
Just go on your phone and leave a review.
5 stars, please. Another listener in sunny California, no less. He went to jail for leaving 3 stars. I mentioned it only in passing.
I mean, hey, you could leave 5 stars to your taxi driver. You could leave 5 stars to your dentist. Detective Kinderman, I need to go. I don't know what you are saying. And then he's like confession with Father Dyer. He's like, he says he's a cop, but he he also says to give 5 stars to my hairdresser. Gives 5 stars. He's just obsessed with giving out stars. I don't know.
Father Dyer opens that little slidey thing. It's like, you mean you haven't listened to his podcast? It's great. Sometimes I listen to him like right after I finish him. I re-listen to him. Just to help the algorithm,
Well, my son, say 5 Hail Marys and give me a 5-star review at catholicchurch.org.
Catholicchurch.org. Nice priest, really pleasant. A little bit of a resting bitch face, though. Anyway. Oh, God, where the hell are we?
Oh, I don't know, but there is a real Catholic church, catholic-church.org, I've found. So,
really?
Yeah.
Catholic-church.org.
Yes.
Because they're always in a hurry. Not as fast as those Russian Orthodox, though.
Right. They don't have a website at the Orthodox.
They're too busy. They don't got time. Okay, yes. So back to my notes. So the next thing I have in my notes is that Kinderman's whole thing is that he gets distracted. And he goes off on
all these tangents all the time.
All these tangents all the time. So if you guys think we're bad, wait till you hear Kinderman's show. Each minute is going to be like 4 hours long.
And then at the end of every week, he goes, wait, what movie was I supposed to be talking about? Oh, well, we're out of time. Oh. Come back next week. We'll talk about American Graffiti.
Yes.
Well, can I read to you from the screenplay a little bit?
Please do. Help us out of this.
Speaking about the way that Kinderman does tangents, I mean that's in the finished film, but I'd like to read something that got cut out, or I don't know if it got cut out of the movie or they cut this from the script before they started shooting this. But this is between our 2 scenes here. So back on the railing where Father Karras says, "Is that a threat?" Mm-hmm. We go, "Is that a threat?" And he's don't talk paranoid. I mentioned it in passing, right? So we cut there. So here we go. A reading from the screenplay of Blatty. Karras, slight warm smile. That a threat? Kinderman, don't talk paranoid. I mentioned it in passing. I could always tell the judge it was a matter of confession. Kinderman, glancing at him, faintly gloomy. Want to go into business, Father? Father? What father? You're a Jew. I could tell when I met you. Karras chuckles. Kinderman, yes, laugh. Go ahead, laugh. But then Kinderman smiles, looking impishly pleased with himself, and turns to Karras with beaming eyes. That reminds me, the entrance exam for policemen, Father? When I took it, one question went something like, what are rabies and what would you do for them? Know what some dumbhead put down for an answer? Rabies, he said, are Jew priests, and I would do anything that I could for them.
Wait a minute. Yeesh.
So what do we think about, cutting some of the, so it seems here like not only is he I don't know. That one reads on the page like he really did get distracted and off on a tangent, as opposed to him Columboing his way through and like pretending to get distracted.
Well, okay, so as soon as you started that, I was like, oh, I know this. I know this little bit of dialogue well, because it's also in the book,
right?
And maybe it's just Blatty himself as he's reading the audiobook. He seems to. I mean, obviously, he's the one who wrote the dialogue, so he knows exactly like the cadence and the rhythm of it. But he plays it off really. You know, it's still part of that tennis match that they're doing. So it comes off as kind of like jovial and funny, and they're just kind of like ribbing each other. It's like, it's like, want to go to business, go into business, father? And Karras is just like, just kind of like chuckling. It's like, father, what father? You're a Jew. I could tell you, first time I met you, right?
So he's accusing the Catholic priest of being a Jew, I think is funny. And I think that starts
wait. I thought that was always Karras saying that Kinderman was a Jew.
No, this is Kinderman saying, father, you're not a father, you're a Jew.
Wow.
That's what it says here in the script.
And I've been reading this book for how many years now?
I think the joke is like, oh, come on, stop with this father bit. You're a Jew. Look at you. You look like a Jew, and I'm a Jew, and let's be Jews together.
That makes so much more sense.
Right, it's not Karras Jew bashing.
I was like, that's a weird line, Karras. Like, what? Like, even if you say it friendly, what are you doing?
No, it's Kinderman, saying like I'm a Jew, you're a Jew. Come on, but that has to be the way that it is.
Okay, so folks, this is an argument for not listening to audiobooks and actually reading the goddamn thing, because then I would have been able to see that they're two different quotations. Oh my God.
Well, I think that's interesting. Like, I guess to jump really ahead, I hate that the version you've never seen, TVYNS, ends with Kinderman. I hate it. I know that you like it. You like it enough, right? Yeah. Some people really hate it. Some people like it, but it certainly speaks to this idea that we have another like a cross faiths friendship blooming, right?
Yes.
That Kinderman is a Jew and Dyer is a Catholic, like we have Marin as a Catholic, and the Jesuit dean being no, not Jesuit
an Arab
dean.
curator.
No, the Arab curator. Oh my God,
you did that on purpose.
I did not do that on purpose. That Father Marin is friends with the Arab curator, and
played
not
by
Jesuit
Roy Cooper.
Dean. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
right. But I don't know where we have so we've cut out again explicitly where we say that Kinderman is a Jew. I think that we would have to.
It doesn't say.
Yeah, we would know that, but he's speaking Yiddish. He's played by a Jewish actor, Lee J. Cobb, and he's playing him certainly as a Jew, but we don't have the lines where it says that he's Jewish.
Right.
Yeah. So we've cut that out of the movie. I think a 1970s audience would be much more aware of what that is. I think a lot of my students have trouble recognizing when characters are meant to be Jews. Not that they're like coded queer characters. They're not coded as Jews. They're not like hiding them or anything. But just like we don't see stock Jewish characters anymore.
Right.
We don't recognize Jonah Hill as a Jew, right? I mean, like he's just a dude. He's a funny dude.
Yeah. Actually, going back to what you were saying about. Yeah, that not being mentioned in the movie. Now that I think about it, in this movie, we have both of those things taken out, right? Because we have, I mean, at least, if we're going by the X-rays or whatever, or the textual material about this movie, it's never revealed that the Arab curator is an Arab curator and that they are friends, and you know what I mean? Well, I guess they embrace, but
they embrace it. But we could completely overlook that most likely he's a Muslim.
Right. So and it seems like Blatty is the one who is kind of like planting his flag in the sand about like, look, like Father Marin has a what did you call it? Like a cross friendship?
Oh, I don't know what I just said.
You said,
I don't know what phrase I just used because
a friendship across faiths or something like that.
Something good. I said something real good a little while ago.
You did. Yeah. Go back and listen, whatever that is, folks. But yeah, like so, it seems like Blatty is the one making that statement that like, look, Father Marin is friends with this person of another religion, and so is Father Karras now with Kinderman, right? I mean, we don't know if Kinderman's practicing. We don't,
right?
I mean. I don't think Karras is practicing either.
Right. But Yeah, and it's also interesting to me, like, Blatty is a Catholic. He went to Georgetown. He studied theology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He becomes a comedy writer, which at the time is dominated by a new breed of Jewish comedians. As I said, like the way that Black music is American music and American music is Black music. Jewish comedy is American comedy. American comedy is Jewish comedy. And Blatty, we were thinking early on, like, oh, is Blatty, we assume Blatty is Karras, right? Because Karras is the main character. But maybe the self-insert character, the alter ego character, is Kinderman. Right?
Because Kinderman is the one who travels to the next book as well.
That's true, right.
And he continues on to the next book.
Yeah, Kinderman feels the most like Blatty, right? The more that we've thought about what Blatty does, and we've been able to, compare the script to the book, to the film, etc. Like the things that get cut out of other people's mouths in the film fit really well in Kinderman's mouth. Like the schmaltzy, not just in the comedy way that Kinderman talks about, but also like the overly emotional way.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if somebody could kind of do a statement on how Kinderman and Kinderman plus Karras equals Blatty.
Right. That's probably the most complete. Yeah, that's probably correct.
Yeah. Very interesting, because maybe Kinderman is what Blatty is like outwardly, and Karras is what he's in what he is inside.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he did, I think we mentioned on the show before, but according to William Friedkin, Blatty offered up his entire salary just to play Damien Karras.
Right.
So he had a lot of affection for this character.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then also he did what was it? He did Clouseau.
He wrote Shot in the Dark partly.
Yeah. So yeah. I think we just discovered something.
Finally.
Yes. Something new.
We finally did something.
Something that hasn't been said on all of the other podcasts about The Exorcist, or the YouTube videos, or the documentaries, or everything. You got it, guys. Right. Kinderman plus Karras equals Blatty.
Yeah, we got these comparative lit nerds doing that work. Yeah.
Yep. This is the venomous diagram. But actually, yeah. So speaking to that, Kynan, I know how you feel about this new ending with Kinderman and Dyer, right? And it was in my notes. I wanted to check in with you about this scene right here. It seems like their interaction is over. Karras walks away, and then Kinderman chases him down and starts talking about movies. Do you think this is another Kinderman trick here, or is he being genuine? Like he just wants to go see a movie with this guy. I go back and forth on this, whether or not this is him trying to bust the case, or him just wanting a friend.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not sure where I am on it. I think that Karras is suspicious of it, because it is we just had this fencing match back there, and so is this continued fencing match? That would be something to keep my guard on. But also, if this is a genuine expression of friendship, that's also something I would keep my guard on about. Don't you know who I am? I'm a potential murder suspect, or a person of interest, someone who's protecting the the murderer. Right. You want to go to the movies with me? I don't know if I want to go to the movies with you.
Yeah. Okay. But to me, and maybe this is because I've read the book so many times, this feels genuine. He meets this guy while he's on the case, right? He sort of meets his match conversationally, right? He tries to pull the old Kinderman schmaltz, right? And it doesn't work, right? And he's like, gee, this guy is actually fun to talk to. I wonder if he'd want to see a film, right? And I know I keep jumping back to book Kinderman, but And this isn't even Exorcist book Kinderman. This is in Legion. It starts out with him and Father Dyer, who are now best friends. But it starts out with each of them telling someone else, I can't tomorrow. Tomorrow's my date with Father Dyer. Or Father Dyer says tomorrow's my date with Kinderman. And the other character is it's tomorrow, because it's this yearly thing. They have this little date every year. And both Kinderman and Dyer describe it respectively to respectively to this third person, every year around this time, Dyer gets depressed, so I have to go and cheer him up, right? Or Dyer says, yeah, Kinderman gets depressed and I got to go cheer him up. And it's really sweet. Both of them are mourning the loss of their mutual friend, and they keep this appointment to cheer each other up on this day, and they never miss it, right? All this to say, from the books, I get the feeling that Kinderman is being genuine in this moment, that he really does like Karras and he wants to go see a film with him. I mean, maybe it can be both. Maybe he's one of those people who can like mix work with life. Right. In fact, I think he is like that. Like we'll see in later readings that his mind just never sleeps. Like he's always on. But yeah, I think he's being genuine here.
That's interesting. I mean, this idea of them, Dyer and Kinderman, trying to help each other out with their depression and not recognize that they need to work on their own depression, right? That's really sweet, and I'm sure Billy Friedkin wants nothing to do with that kind of thing. That just does not sound like a Friedkin character at all.
Yeah, but folks, if you want to lean that way, right? If that's true, then this is one of those like counteracting themes, right? We got communion, we got friendship, we got togetherness, right? Both of these men feel like they're feeble little candles in the darkness, right? But together they make each other's worlds a little bit brighter. So it could go either way. You could look at it any old way you please, right? So Kinderman's got passes to the crest. It's Othello, right? Okay, so this is the third Shakespeare reference by Blatty, right? Like I think this guy really likes his Shakespeare. Honestly, Kynan, I can't stand those people.
He's always trapping his friends with Shakespeare.
Yeah, he's always God. And there we are again. But also, this is the second or third reference to a movie that could easily be mistaken for something else. Like first we got Willie going to see The Beatles by herself,
right?
Because Carl went to see Paul Scofield in King Lear.
And it was probably Willie going to see Let It Be. I think we decided the movie about the Beatles breaking up.
Right. And Paul Scofield was probably in a film, like the film version with Paul Scofield. Yeah. Probably, so, but like you tell somebody, it's like, I'm going to go see the Beatles. I'm going to go see King Lear. They think you're for both of those, you're talking about a live performance. And now we got Kinderman being like, and Othello is playing, right? and all of those things could be other things, right? Like they could be live performances or concerts. Yeah. So Karras asks, who's in it? Right. That always struck me as it just brought to mind a time when like the names in the film, like the glamour of Hollywood was the main thing.
Definitely.
Right.
Absolutely. That was the main reason why you saw movies back then.
Was it like we're gonna go see a Clark Gable picture.
Right.
And you don't ask like what it's about.
No, who cares? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's Clark Gable. He's yeah.
Yeah, we're going through again what like Hollywood economists and journalists are talking about is like the death of the movie star. And I don't know how much you talked about it on this show before, even though I swear I listened to the show. I don't remember if we talked about it. But starting in the late 90s, the movie star kind of peaks with like people who are making $20 million a picture, like Cameron Diaz and Will Smith and Jim Carrey and Schwarzenegger and Julia Roberts. And we have never been back to that stage again since the 1990s. And there's a bunch of different theories for why that I won't get into here. But yeah, nowadays the movie star is not as big of a deal for sure. So when we have franchises like Ant-Man or whatever, it's not really about you necessarily wanting to go and see Jonathan Majors or Paul Rudd. It really is because like you're sort of you've got Stockholm syndrome with your captor, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you're like, well, I saw the other ones, etc.
We love you, Andy.
No. But this is again like that. That's just a different type of draw to the movie. So the franchise movie does not need stars as much. It still helps,
right? And
still today, like that's the main way that movies get financed is by attaching a star, because it's basically like, oh well, this star is putting their reputation on the line, and they say this script is a good movie, and so financiers are much more likely to accept that it's a good risk to take. So
yeah. Even I mean, like even just beyond that, like. We don't even have to talk about a franchise. Just the concept of a movie can be enough to like, oh, did you hear about this movie? It takes place at this time. Oh, there's never been a movie, talking about this time or this point of view or as crazy as Everything Everywhere All at Once or something like that.
Well, that's true. So there's also this at the same time as the movie stars going away, there's a disappearance in what's called the medium-sized movie. So movies basically get more and more expensive to the point where it's like Titanic and then Avatar and the franchise movies, and then smaller and smaller and smaller and cheaper. So something like in Everything All at Once or Everything Everywhere All at Once, or even something smaller than that. And the medium-sized movie, which there were in the 1970s, like The Exorcist is not the most expensive movie ever made or anything like that.
Right.
Neither is The Godfather. These are medium-sized movies, and a lot of the money that's being spent there is on the stars. And so what happens is that in the 1980s, the medium-sized movie starts to go away. In the 90s, we actually movie stars take pay cuts to be in interesting movies like a Pulp Fiction or a Shakespeare in Love. They actually reduced their salaries to get paid almost what day players would get paid.
Right.
And yeah, the medium-sized movie just goes away. So those movies used to be able to just get people in the seats because of the star itself. So like a Bette Midler or a Robin Williams or whatever, that would be enough and those movies would survive. And now that's just not the case.
Right. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. It's sometimes, I mean, like now I'm thinking of like, you would think of a movie star who has been on that trajectory. They've gone through that journey of like a rise and fall, and then they've disappeared, and we don't talk about them anymore. And then suddenly there's all this buzz about them being in this like little movie that's like getting all these accolades, and it's like, oh my gosh, and it's so different what this actor is doing. We forgot all about this actor, and we've stereotyped them as this one thing, but now they're giving this like completely unique and moving performance in this tiny little film, and
right.
Yeah, and that like catapults them back into the public eye.
Yeah, so they can. I mean, that's like the Pulp Fiction Miramax model. Like John Travolta takes a huge pay cut, and Bruce Willis takes a huge pay cut. Two big stars to be in a movie that they wouldn't normally get to do because they're stuck in like franchise movies like Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking 2. And now Travolta wants to play like a sexy hitman guy, and he's not getting this part. So in order to do that, you have to take this pay cut, and then from there, Travolta becomes one of the biggest stars of the 90s. He gets to be in huge movies about nuclear weapons and switching people's faces.
Yeah, there was a time, folks, before John Travolta was known for taking people's faces off and talking to Nick Cage. He was talking to babies, and babies were talking back. And that's what we knew him for.
I just realized that the baby in Look Who's Talking is Bruce Willis. So that's
right.
So they both went from Look Who's Talking to Pulp Fiction.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. I didn't know why I didn't think about that. But anyways, I wanted to talk about movie stars because that's sort of the joke that Kinderman has here. So I'm glad we brought up that.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
So Karras asks who's in it, and like I said, that always struck me as like the glamour of Hollywood type thing, right? In fact, later Kinderman invites him to the crest again and tells him what's playing, and this is after like Karras has already met Chris, and he wants to let Kinderman know he's on to him. So he says something like, "Are you sure that's what's playing, Lieutenant? I could have sworn it was a Chris McNeil picture." And it's just this little wink, like, yeah, I know that's why you're like hanging around so much, but yeah, like. I just thought that was really cool. So in any case, Karras asks who's in it, and Kinderman answers. He's like, "Who's in it? Debbie Reynolds is Desdemona, and Othello Groucho Marx. You happy?" Now, it's interesting how this joke lands today. I think Groucho Marx is how we know that this is a joke,
right? Yeah, I think
right.
So.
But even my students who don't know who that is, like, and they certainly don't know who Debbie Reynolds is.
Oh,
like Kynan.
I don't think so. I think they know Debbie Reynolds.
My students?
Yeah, I think so.
You're making a lot of assumptions about my students.
Well, it's interesting. So I show Singing in the Rain every year to my freshmen. And for a while I would say like, and this is Debbie Reynolds, and she is Carrie Fisher's mother, and they would go, "Oh, yes." And then a couple years ago, I got corrected by the students, and this is Debbie Reynolds, and she was a huge star in the 50s and 60s, and then she became best known now, I suppose, as Carrie Fisher's mother. And they would say, "Absolutely not. She's the grandmother in Halloween Town. You take that back." I was like, "Oh yes, you're right. You grew up with her as the grandma in Halloween Town, as the star of the Halloween Town series." If you're too old to know what that is, that's a Disney Channel series where Debbie Reynolds was the star. Yeah, she was the magical witch grandmother.
Yep.
So I mean, it changes all the time, like what people were known for,
right? So I mean, the fact that it changes, like if we had to revitalize this joke for the current generation, who today would star in this comic tragedy or this is a tragic comedy?
Well, I think that's what the joke is, right? Like it's a straight Othello with Groucho Marx and Debbie Reynolds, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think the joke is that they're also outdated. Right, like that's how we know it's a joke. That Debbie Reynolds is not a star in 1973 the way she was 10 years ago. So this might be like a Dolly Parton.
Okay,
so Dolly Parton as Desdemona, and Kevin Hart as Groucho Marx. Except Kevin Hart, well, he's the star.
Kevin Hart
now.
is Groucho Marx.
Kevin Hart is
you
Othello.
Mean as Othello?
but then that's the trouble is that like Kevin Hart is big now, and Othello, I was casting it, I guess, as a black person playing Othello, but back then,
right,
it would be
because you don't want to do the other way.
Right.
Yeah,
but that's one of the things that is missing is we used to have this really handy poll that was called the Quigley poll, where they would go into the movie theaters and interview the owners of the movie theaters and ask who is the biggest movie star in the country right now. And they asked the people at the movie theaters rather than the studio executives, because they would get to know, like, at a retail level, the idea was the movie theater people would be able to hear from the people going in the movies, like, oh, I just love that Tom Holland. I would see anything Tom Holland, right?
Oh, wow.
So they stopped doing it about 10 years ago. And I'm not sure why exactly. It may be because the movie star is not that big of a deal anymore. So the last data we have from that is, I think, from 2012, which said like the biggest movie star was Jennifer Lawrence. I believe that's the last one. So we haven't had that data, and so now we have to sort of like thought experiment in it. So like, who is the biggest movie star today, Lester?
Oh, geez.
We don't have any polling. Like, not that the poll was flawless, right? Because polls that are subjective like that are kind of iffy. But yeah, how do we track that?
That's, I mean, like, my mind immediately just went back to the Oscars. I was like, okay, who won best? But that doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, because not a lot of people saw The Whale.
Yeah.
So who's the biggest draw? Like, what gets people in the seats? Like, Tom Holland, Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks. I think that's fair.
A lot of Toms.
All the Toms. I think that's fair. Those are three big movie stars. Is Timmy Chalamet a movie star, or is he just like an internet star? Like, do people go to the movies because Timmy Chalamet's in it, or do they, go to Instagram and Tumblr because Timmy Chalamet's a big star? I don't know.
Well, the internet also has to have like a huge effect on like celebrity status, right?
But it
like,
doesn't mean that people go to buy tickets because someone's big online. Like, we don't know.
You know what? It seems okay. So that new Mario Brothers movie is coming out, and people are so up in arms about Chris Pratt being the voice of Mario because they grew up with I
don't know, Cyndi Lauper's wrestler buddy.
No. That's Lou Albano.
Yeah. Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, I'm talking about in the like from Mario 64 on. Charles Martinet.
Okay. Well, I guess Lou Albano is my Mario.
Oh no! I did. Hey, make no mistake. Lou Albano is also my Mario. Okay. As soon as this like woohoo like thing came on, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Gone too far, Nintendo.
No, he's always been. I will like Lou Albano. Yeah, Captain Lou Albano. And then number 2 would be Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, that's true. So
and then you get these other guys. Yeah.
So, but I get like, okay, we have a voice actor. Why don't we get the guy who does it in the game? He's also a voice actor, but we need to have dramatic scenes with him. Do we have any proof that he can do like can he cry once Luigi? Just the way the movie is. Boo-hoo! I have no prior information, but I am almost sure that at some point in the movie, Mario is going to lose his way because he's made a mistake, and he's going to accidentally betray Toad and accidentally betray Luigi, and he's going to be all by himself. That's just the way movies sort of work. And he's going to look over a vista and think about taking the pipe back home. And he's going to have to, cry. And can this guy who does it in the games cry as Mario?
And then Luigi's face is going to form out of the clouds and tell him to go seek his destiny.
Exactly.
But no, okay, yeah. So yeah, to your point, Kynan, yeah, like Chris Pratt would be able to do that, whereas, I mean, I can't speak for Charles Martinet,
right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that an example of where the big name celebrity is no longer as popular as the thing that these kids today like are growing up with, because to them the bigger celebrity is
the video game,
like
actor.
The video game
Right.
Mario.
That's a really good point. That's a great point. I don't know if I have an answer for that, but that's absolutely a fantastic point, right?
Yeah. And they're like up in arms. They're like or what was it like they basically made the Sonic movie redo its Sonic, right?
That seems to have been borne out that was the smart move. They spent all that money and made it profitable when people were not going to go see Sonic. But but yeah, so I mean, that's an interesting question. Like, who do we have movie? We certainly don't have movie stars the way we used to. But what role do Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, Tom Holland, Dwayne Johnson, Zendaya, Awkwafina, Timothy Chalamet, Kevin Hart, like, do they actually draw people to movies or not? Or are they just the people that we agree are worth money, that we pay the studios that, but is that the reason why people actually go to the movies? I don't know.
Interesting.
Anybody else? I'm leaving off that list who's the top 10 movie stars today?
I'm trying to think. I mean, again, my mind keeps on just going back to the Oscars,
So Michelle
But
Yeoh.
like Michelle Yeoh. But like the Oscars this year was like so famously about those actors that I was talking about previously, where like they had kind of disappeared for a while, and this was their like triumphant return.
Right. Absolutely.
Like you got Brendan Fraser, you got Ke Huy Quan, you got Michelle Yeoh, you got
Angela Bassett,
Jamie Lee Curtis, Angela Bassett,
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I don't know if it's obvious, but I really liked the Oscars.
And Tom Cruise even, right?
And Tom Cruise,
yeah. He wasn't nominated for acting, but yeah, that was sort of the thing. You're like, oh, like we finally have him back into form. It's the highest grossing movie of the year because it's just an old fashioned Tom Cruise at the top of his form.
Yeah. Whereas like Tom Hanks was kind of like overlooked.
He won a Razzie Award. I don't know if you heard that.
Okay, so not just overlooked, but like...
I love that performance. So unfortunately, my two favorite Best Supporting Actor performances of the past 2 years, Tom Hanks in Elvis and Jared Leto in House of Gucci, have won back-to-back Razzie Awards. So maybe I am just out of touch. And what I think is an Oscar-worthy performance is what everyone thinks is a Razzie.
No, don't say that on the air, Kynan. Not while we're doing the show.
But I think I'm more
We're
likely...
We're really smart, people.
I'm more likely I'm more inclined to believe that the Razzies are just out of touch and useless and need to go away.
Yeah.
Because Tom Hanks in Elvis, like, what do you want him to be doing as
I
this
don't know.
Dutch con artist who pretends to be a cowboy to sell black music to white people? What kind of grounded performance are you looking for? What accent do you want him to be playing? I don't understand it.
No, you're absolutely right. I didn't have anything bad to say about that performance.
Because it's great. It's fucking great.
Well, we've hit a nerve here on this. So,
and Tom Hanks can survive winning a Razzie, so it's like
yes, he will survive. I mean, my favorite moment of the night. I had a lot of favorite moments of the night, but I was really really happy to see Jamie Lee Curtis win. As we all know, famous Scream Queen of Halloween, where she plays Michael Myers' sister.
Stop it! Stop! I'm going to throw you out a window. I'm going to drive to LA. Right, I'm going to get in my car from Vegas and drive to LA and find you. I'm going to throw you out of a second floor window, and I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to look outside, and your body will be gone.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
And then Ian will burst out of the door. It's like, I shot him 6 times, 6 times.
Right. Then it'll turn out that you were my brother the whole time or something.
Yep. That's in the second movie. But in the first movie, it's not true. Okay. Oh God. Okay. We're almost done. In any case, Karras. Yeah. Okay. So all of this we got sidetracked by this joke that Kinderman is posing. So I love this. I love how quick they are. Right. So Karras asks, "Who's in it?" And without missing a beat, right? Debbie Reynolds, Desdemona, and Othello Groucho Marx. Right. And Karras also, without missing a beat, right? He shoots back, "I've seen it." I love that. Right. Like just lightning quick. Right. And actually, it looks like it was a little too quick for Kinderman, right? Like he sort of huffs out a laugh in response, like he wasn't expecting Karras to be so witty, right? And I like I'm saying, like I think he just met his match here, and whether or not he was feigning friendship or familiarity at first, I think this scene establishes like a sincere fondness between them. He's like, like nobody's ever answered the Debbie Reynolds Groucho Marx thing that quickly,
right?
So then we cut to an over the shoulder of Kinderman looking at Karras. And he says, one last time, he asks, can Karras think of a priest who fits the bill? And Karras says, come on, right? But Kinderman insists. He's like, answer the question, Father Paranoia, right?
Father Cutesy Flip, Father Paranoia.
Right? We got Father Cutesy Flip, we got Father Paranoia, we got Father Fake writer and researcher, right?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so after some hesitation, Karras finally relents, right? And I love the wind up to this, right? Like he kind of chews the air, he looks around, right? And then he says, you know who I think really did it? And there's who? The Dominicans, go pick on them. And again, like with the zinger, it's like, but this time Kinderman isn't laughing, right? Like he threatens to deport Karras, right? But Karras only smiles and he turns away to jog up the steps. And I love it's because we're looking at these minutes so closely, and I'm looking shot by shot. And if you just look at that shot like it isolated, it really looks like mischievous Karras just said something, and he's like, eh, and then he turns and he runs up the, like before he can get caught,
Cheese it, Dimmy.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And that's another joke, right, about threatening to deport Karras. Maybe that's not funny today because that means something completely different. But again, they're joking like they are the children or maybe Kinderman's a child or grandchild of immigrants, right? So he's like using that, like they're doing it in a brotherly sort of way, right? Like, exactly. You Greek, I could, like you Greek so-and-so, I could get you deported, when Kinderman is like, he was treated badly probably when he was a German, right? Right. Because like we have a whole, that's something I have to explain to kids when we watch older movies or young people, is like how race changed and how, a lot of Southern Europeans and Eastern Europeans were not fully welcomed into whiteness in America until later, right? So Greeks, Germans, some Scots, some Irish, Poles, Italians, like they were not seen as fully white. So this would have been within certainly within Kinderman's generation, and then Karras would at least have known about that. He probably didn't quite experience it the same way that his mother would have.
Right. Yeah, that's such a weird thing to think about too.
Yeah.
But it's like today we're watching this in 2023, and it's like these are two white guys talking to each other. But like even during the filming of this in 1973, it's like this is a Greek and a Jew,
right? A German Jew,
they are a German Jew, and they are heavily aware of it, and their characters are heavily aware of it. The writer is heavily aware of it. The director is heavily aware of it, and it's just like all of these undertones that we're not even picking up on. Right.
And also a lot of those immigrant communities would have been, and you see this in movies of the 30s and 40s as well, very skeptical of the police, especially in the 1940s when like the film noir movies come out and people can speak really openly about this. And you get immigrant depictions of the police that are not flattering at all. And it was the case that most of them would not want to talk to a cop at all. Even if the cop came around and said, here, I'm here to protect you, they'd be like, no, that's just not something we do around here because the cops persecute us.
Right. And you got the like even then, like the stereotypical like Irish cop, right? Which is like the whitest thing you can think of, right? Like I'm Irish. And it's just like I'm so white. Gandalf the White would look at me and be like, I shall not pass. I don't know.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
I don't know where I'm going with that. Oh, there's going to be so much editing in this one.
Right. But anyways, yeah. So like they have this distrust of the police that's sort of inherent into their cultures. So I think that might be a little bit, we're wondering about like, why is Karras playing so cagey? Why doesn't he just say, hey, I don't have any patients like that, right? Like he's working as a doctor, protecting his patients, as a priest, protecting his ministry, as a priest, protecting his coworkers, and as a Greek, just sort of like, no cops, thanks.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, so Karras, smiles and he does his little jog up to the door of the residence hall, and Kinderman calls after him and he's like, I lied. And Karras turns. He's like, you look like Sal Mineo. And okay, I looked up Sal Mineo. He's got the dark hair. He's got the dark eyes. He's a good looking guy. So I'm
you're very nice. He's a good looking guy. He's a movie guy. Yeah. But he normally would play the dweebs and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So because I was a little bit lost on the joke. I was like, is Sal Mineo not as big as John Garfield or Marlon Brando? I guess not. Right?
Like short?
No. I meant big as in like big name.
Oh, yeah. He's not as big of a name, but he's like a short guy as well. He's like he was sort of stereotyped as like the little guy. So his most famous thing is him playing Rebel Without a Cause. So like the nerdy, maybe gay, dweeby, soft character who's sort of in love with James Dean.
Okay. So like an equivalent today was like, hey, they would meet at first, and he would Kinderman would be like to Karras, it's like, oh, did anybody ever tell you look like Tom Hiddleston? And then but the end is like, I lied. You look like Paul Dano.
I like that. All right. Yeah. So like Paul Dano or Michael Cera. I don't know. I think Paul Dano is really, really. And some ladies love their Paul Dano. But yeah, that's the idea. That's exactly the idea. So
the Fablemans people.
Right. Like,
there will be blood.
Geez, what's my favorite? There's a movie where he plays Brian Wilson, Paul Dano. That is very.
Oh, okay.
Or did you ever see the Daniels' first movie, Swiss Army Man.
No,
Oh, you got to see that.
Everyone's been talking about
You
it,
gotta see
like,
that
and I
and tell me
love
what you-
Everything Everywhere so much.
That's the Paul Dano. Whew. That's sexy stuff. Yeah. Yes, but it is exactly like that. It's like, you ever tell you look like Chris Hemsworth? And I lied. You look like Michael Cera.
Okay.
And I think I forget if Mineo had died at this point. No, he was still alive. So Sal Mineo also has one of these famous Hollywood deaths that's like a mystery, where he was most people, I don't know most people, but a lot of people read it as he was out cruising for gay sex and he got killed while got stabbed. Yeah. And that's like the Hollywood legend, at least, about it. But he was sort of mugged on the street, and they wonder why this person, this richer person, was in such a bad neighborhood, etc. And so we don't really know. But that's the Hollywood intimation, is that he was died while out looking for gay sex.
Why is gay sex important in that story?
Because he was cruising.
Why did you say sex?
No, it has to, because he was out cruising is the idea. Like, he was that you couldn't just go to gay bars and things. You had to put yourself in dangerous situations, unfortunately, because you couldn't be out.
Oh, is that what cruising is?
Yeah, cruising is like, like cruising, like the Friedkin cruising. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's out. It's going out there and looking, and like you go and you like making eye contact with a guy, and you either are flirting with him and he turns out he's flirting with you, or you flirt with him and he is not flirting with you and you get beat up.
Oh, okay. So it was like a gamble.
Yes.
Like a wow.
And people still do that today. It's become part of like gay culture, that like some people are really into the danger of that, and it's just sort of how gay sex has worked traditionally. So, but even
when now you could like just like easily like find a community and
go to a bar, go to your church. I mean, like Pete Buttigieg meets his husband, like on like a Christian gay dating site or something like that. It's not like that back in the day. No.
Wow.
Anyways, cut out of whatever you have, but it wouldn't be the Exorcist Minute if I didn't tell you how these people met their untimely death.
Yeah.
The terrible things.
I can count the number of times where like I just keep like I'm editing and I hear you. It's like, oh, you're going to cut this out for sure.
It's such a bummer.
And then I leave it in, including the part where you say you're going to cut this out.
But yes, anyways, so he's that's a good interpretation of he's making fun of. He said, oh, you look like this sexy movie star guy, and now I'm saying you look like this famous dweeby guy,
like this B movie guy.
Yeah,
you look like Marlon Brando, but no, you look like who's Freddie Corleone.
Oh, John Cazale.
Yeah, I lied. You look like John Cazale. Or it would be Al Pacino, then John Cazale.
Right? Yeah. And he died young.
Oh.
But that was lung cancer. He was a smoker. And, Yes.
I want to see.
He died with Meryl Streep at his side, so he. Yes. But I sometimes ask like who's the greatest movie actor of all time, and I think there are options like Meryl Streep and Marlon Brando, Laurence Olivier. Some people say Daniel Day-Lewis, Kate Blanchett, right? Betty Davis. And someone said, no, I figured it out. The correct answer is John Cazale. He was in The Godfather Part 2, The Conversation, Dog Day Afternoon, and The Deer Hunter, and then died in a relationship with Meryl Streep. So he like has the best career of anyone.
You know what? Measuring on that scale, he absolutely wins. Well, there you go. He's good, not like everybody says.
He's smart. Tell him, Meryl.
He's smart.
I'd say that John is very smart.
I did that crossword all by myself.
Let me know if you like my Meryl Streep impression. I think it's hard to do an impression of an impressionist, but let me know if you liked it.
I like it.
Thank you.
I really like it.
All right, let's stop this.
Okay. This madness. Okay. Yeah. So in any case, this Sal Mineo line, right? This is met with another smile from our boy, Father Karras. Again, just a ray of sunshine in this movie, a breath of fresh air. We see them smiling so rarely. It surprises us when we do see it. He turns and he enters the residence hall, and that is where our minute ends. Kynan, is there anything else we missed or that we didn't go off the beaten path and talk about also?
No, I think that's enough.
Yeah. I can see the little hook, just like the vaudeville hook. Just, yeah.
Oh, but then if you have any ideas about who the big movie stars are today that I left up on the list, it's something I'm constantly asking and trying to keep track of.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yes, yeah, folks, write in, theexorcistminute@gmail.com. Folks, this has been another excellent Exorcist Minute. I've been Lester Ryan Clark. You can find me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I've been Kynan Diaz, and you can find me on Instagram and Letterboxd as Howdy Kynan.
Yes, and we got our listener group, Compelling Conversations. Go check that out and request to join, and we'll let you in here with us. And thank you so much to everyone who has shared the show by word of mouth or on social media. And a big thank you to anyone who has given us a 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. We really appreciate it. That's going to help our little podcast grow and find more people, more cool people like you. Okay, Kynan, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think I am, Lester.
Folks, until next time, the power of John Cazale compels you.